Today is July 10th. It's a little bit past my 1 month mark. Things are going. They're going in a direction, right? I am putting forth lots of effort and time into making sure that I'm doing auditions, doing things that would directly create a sale. So anyway, to kind of sum up what this is about, I've been a full-time voice actor, entrepreneur person for about a month now. And I wanted to give you guys my direct experience and non-disclosure, put it all out there for you guys. So in this process, I've learned a few things here and there, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it and try and tell you that this is, how you need to make millions, really easily and quickly and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not going to do that because that's not what's happening thus far. I am really glad that I took the time to have some cash reserves on hand before I quit my day job. That has definitely been a lot off of me while I'm in this transition, because that's really what it is, right? There's no way to, make that more pretty. But so far, I'm enjoying trying to figure out what works best, because everyone is different, and all the cliches that everybody says. Some people work better at night. Some people are morning persons, and some people are really active during the middle of the day. And I tend to be a morning person, and I really enjoy doing my physical activity outside or weightlifting in the morning. However, because I am a morning person, I am most productive at that time. So I have to make adjustments. I have to make sacrifices. And it's not like I'm not going to do those things, but it seems that that's going to be the best way to work around it. And then have lunch and then be all right, now's when I run my errands. Now's when I'm going to, pick up the house and make sure that I have all my groceries and meal prep and, do my exercise. And, make sure that I set aside time to, make sure I have some type of life balance of spending time with my fiance and, making time for business meetings or social gatherings, things of that nature. Because you can't just leave your life on hold. As much as people like to say oh yeah, I just locked myself in a room for 3 months straight and I'm a millionaire. And, maybe that worked, but, I'm not trying to kill myself first in the process. I get up, I, turn on Twitch just to kind of have on in the background. And if I hear something that I'm oh, hey, they're talking to me, let me respond kind of thing, I'll do that. But I do try to keep it very much in the background while I'm doing auditions and going through my emails, making sure that I'm not missing anything that needs to get taken care of first thing in the morning. Most of my agents are on East Coast. Nope. West Coast. I tried. And so they're on a different time zone than I am. And so I can easily just do anything that was sent to me the day before, first thing in the morning, and I usually won't miss the deadlines. So otherwise, of course, I would just do it that day. And after I kind of get through all of those, that's when I kind of take the time to make breakfast and plan my day. And as far as my day goes, I generally try to keep it very similar. I like routine. As much as I used to hate it, I really did used to hate it a lot. But now that I kind of need that structure, it's if I don't have it, I lose my mind. I just crash on the couch and I'm I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore. But so I have to have structure. And, if there's a meeting in the morning, then I just kind of have to work around it as best I can. But I try to keep those as limited as possible. And then, of course, after that, like I said, I'll have lunch. I'll try to keep it really short and sweet, and maybe do some exercise. I like to walk around the neighborhood. I used to like to do it in the morning, especially because that's like before it gets to be sweltering outside. But, we can make sacrifices. But so I'm either going to try that for the afternoon or, like late afternoon, whenever the sun's kind of going down. Sun's going down. Try to alleviate some of that heat. Otherwise, like today is a day that it's going to rain all day long. So I'm just going to cycle and just call it a day. And then afterwards, go get groceries, meal prep, clean up a little bit, make sure it's presentable for whenever Brenty gets home. But after that, I try to keep everything on the DL. Like once he gets home, I kind of want to make sure that all of my stuff is done so that we can spend time together. And, make sure that he has something to eat because, like his days are a lot longer than mine. And I know that. So I'm willing to, adjust for that. My emotions have gotten the better of me the past few weeks, but it's because of the changes I'm making. It's because of these transitions that are like really difficult to kind of like understand what's going on and how I need to fix it. I often make this analogy that what I feel like is happening is I'm throwing a dish at the wall. Usually this dish is considered spaghetti, to see what sticks, but the light's turned off. And so I can't see the wall to see what sticks to it. And to elaborate a little bit in that analogy, like for example, auditions. A lot of my friends will ask me, oh, how did this go? How, you told me about this thing and how is that going? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, generally speaking, if you don't hear back, you didn't get it. So you really have to be like a goldfish. Like in this industry in particular, you have to be able to send whatever your audition is and forget it. Because if you're sitting there dwelling on it like, man, why haven't I heard back from this? Was this a terrible audition? I thought I did really good. All of these thoughts are just going to keep you spinning your wheels. Now, obviously, like if you want to send something to somebody after the fact and be like, yo, what do you think about this? Maybe not even just one, like maybe send a few of them that you did or whatever, just kind of get some feedback on it, especially if you're coaching. Get some coaching. That's really what's going to boost your confidence. And then of course, if you boost your confidence, you'll boost your skills and ability, just automatically. That's how that works. In case you were wondering. But those different things would obviously help you for tricks for that. But again, I'm not trying to be VO specific. I'm trying to just say for like entrepreneurs, anyone that's trying to get out there and put themselves out there and like really just kind of like, get a start and get the ball rolling. Because obviously, like, it's hard, especially when you feel like you're alone, you feel like you have no idea what you're doing. But, like, I ask Brent about it all the time, and I'll just be like, am I doing the wrong thing? Am I losing my mind? And he's like, just keep in mind, like, you know way more than you did 3 years ago. You know way more than you did a month ago. And like you're constantly learning and applying that information to your day-to-day life and your day-to-day like business. So there's always fluctuation and you just kind of like have to take each day with a grain of salt. One day is going to be better than others. And then like the other thing that I've had to do is like whenever I get really frustrated, I have to walk away. Just go do something else. Like sometimes I'll leave the house, especially if I'm hungry and I haven't eaten anything, but maybe like I'm either out of my calories or I don't have anything in the house. It's like, just leave. Just go shopping, not like just shopping to spend money, but like, get something that you were supposed to or run an errand that you were supposed to do, not just like wasting time. Like that's not cool. But, just get something done that you needed to get done and then just move on. And then when you come back, you're usually like, oh, okay, I'm in a different headspace now, so I'm all good now. So that's kind of how I've been dealing with some of these negative emotions that kind of keep you down. And of course, always a walk works. Like, it's crazy, honestly, like, especially depending on the length of the walk. So the beginning of my walks, I'll be like, God, I don't want to do this. And like, I'll just start out so slow. And I'll just be walking at like this minuscule pace. It's like a snail. And then I'll just start listening to a podcast, right? And then, like sometimes depending on the podcast, it'll make me more stressed. It's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay this bill? Da, 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 da. And then I'll kind of pick up my pace a little bit as I kind of get around the corner, and I'm like feeling the breeze and I'm just kind of enjoying the air. And, like I might pick a blueberry off a bush. Shh, don't tell my neighbors. But yeah, it's just like you kind of start to enjoy yourself a little bit, and you just kind of give yourself that freedom to enjoy yourself. And it's just like, oh, okay, I can handle this. I can do this. It doesn't have to be that bad. And as one of my good friends likes to say, he's just like, Tabitha, if you just start on whatever it is that you need to do, like even just for 5 minutes, like you won't even realize the 5 minutes has gone by. And then usually you'll either continue or you'll have 5 minutes done that you didn't have before, so you might as well. I kind of expected things to kind of go the way they have been, and I'm not sure, but I'm kind of like starting to notice that things are not going the way I expected, right? Yeah, you just kind of have to go with the flow on that. I kind of felt like, because when I'm at work, when I was at my day job, like my days were so freaking long. It would just drag on and on and on. But now it's just like, oh, look, another hour's gone by. Oh, look, another hour's gone by. Oh, look, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm watching the 3rd season of Desperate Housewives for the 5th time, and another hour's gone by. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, kind of. But anyway, so like, I didn't expect for time to go by so easily. And then also, I tend to procrastinate. Who would have thought? And the way that I've always done procrastinating is cleaning, which is kind of a good thing, but also not so good thing, because there's always something that can be cleaned. Let me tell you. It's like, oh yeah, I can go make the bed. Oh, I can vacuum this floor. Oh, look, the kitchen. There's a dirty dish in there. Let me get that. So that's kind of one thing that I've kind of had to mediate a bit within myself and just be like, yo, don't do that. I know you want to do that, but you're saving that for this one particular hour where you'll actually be productive with that time and be efficient, and just be like, boom, 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 instead of just like, oh, let's see how long this can take. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you designate a specific time for you to clean, then you will fit it all in that time, or at least as much as you can. Whereas if you're procrastinating with something, you kind of draw it out a little bit longer, if you know what I'm saying. It's kind of like when you're working on the clock versus working salary. Big brain. I feel like I'm stealing this information, but I guess if I credit them, then it's not stealing. It's just like, referencing, like a book report. So I listen to the Money Guy show. I really like listening to them. They kind of dull it down for some of the people who haven't been like investing for many, many years and know everything about the market. And they also use this one and call it the 3D glasses. And so what you'll do is you'll set up your plan for whenever you decide, hey, I want to start myself a new business, and this is what I'm gonna do, and this is how I'm gonna spend my day, blah, blah, blah. So they call it the 3D glasses because you have the 3 plans. The first one is the doo-doo plan. That's like the absolute worst option. And so you kind of have to work around that plan. Like, okay, so if things don't go the way that I want them to, and I don't make as many sales as I expect to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then, you know, this is my backup. This is my plan C. All right, so then there's the, you know, the B plan. That's kind of like the down to earth plan is what they call it. And so that's kind of like, if everything goes well, but not too well. Yeah, you know, kind of like the way the trajectory you already have in place. You know, like if everything's going this way, then it'll just continue in this trend. And so you kind of like, okay, well, this is my plan for if this happens. And then there's always the, you know, shining light, everything goes great, wonderful plan. That's if like, you know, something crazy happens, you know, you go viral, whatever, you know, your industry terms are. And so you kind of have to plan for all three, right? And there's not too much planning to have to do for, you know, plan A, but you definitely want a backup and a second backup in case things don't go the way you want them to. And usually the way that works is, from what I've seen, I can't attest just yet, but I will get there, is that, you know, your first 3 to 5 years are going to be the hardest. So I would presume that like the doo-doo plan is what you start with, and then you eventually work your way up to the other ones. So that would be kind of what I would say to start with. And then as you kind of progress, like see what schedule works best for you, make sure that you are networking with locals as much as possible, because they're going to be the people that want to see you succeeded, because they're going to try to like ride your coattails kind of. You're going to want to work together, you know, you're going to like want to succeed together. And I do feel like that's kind of the trend that I see here in Tallahassee. And I like seeing that. And it's really cool to kind of like work with people and see multiple people, you know, like jumping ship and going out on their own. And it's like, hey, you know, like if they can do it, I can do it. And so forth and so on. Not like they're dumb and it's like, well, if that guy could do it. No. Like, I mean, I'm seeing someone physically do this in front of my eyes, and it's like, I can just try to emulate that. You know, as a matter of fact, I met another guy here doing the exact same thing that I am. He's just a few years ahead of me. And I'm like, oh, let me just write down everything you say. Just tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it. But, you know, like, if you've ever listened to any VO podcasts, I know I'm going off on a tangent again. They all have different backgrounds, and they all make it to success in a different way. And so there's no one set plan, you know, this works for every person. I think it does depend, because everyone is so diverse, and because we all have different backgrounds and different sounds and qualities to our personality. You know, it's so lovely. But I think that does have a lot to do with it. So because everyone's so different, you know, it's cool to kind of like network and get to know everyone. And I think that that's going to help you grow more than anything else. So currently, the things that I'm trying to balance in my life is obviously nutrition, exercise, VO work, and like lifestyle stuff. Meeting the expectations of your family. Let's get into that one. No, just kidding. So those things do take up a good bit of my life. And, you know, like you don't realize it until you actually like, you know, like sectioning your day by every hour and seeing like, oh shoot, I spend 4 hours working out every day. And like, you don't think that you do that until you do. But no, I don't actually do that, but a lot of my friends do. And I'm just like, how? But you know, like everybody spends their time differently, and balancing how much time you spend on each thing is obviously very important. I am trying to add more time to my work, because a lot of people, they'll just keep working, and they're like, oh, look, there's this other thing I need to do. Let me just keep working. I haven't had that issue just yet, but I think I might eventually, once I get to the point where there's like work coming in consistently and so forth. But I'm always willing to pivot and try new things. It's like, oh, look, these things have worked well for me in the past, so let me try and, go back around to that. You have to be willing to work with what's trending. Yay. But, you do what's working for you. And as much as sometimes we don't like that, right? But let's see. On top of that, you also want to make time for your friends. You want to make time for your family or, your loved ones. And so don't always blow off everything. Now, I will say that there are many times when I'm playing Frisbee and league comes up and I'm like, God, I hope. But once you get out there, like once you actually like start running around and stuff, I'm just like, oh, this is nice. Okay, there's people here that I want to see, that I want to talk to. This is all right. But I will say that, there are several times that I'm dreading, like, oh man, do I really have to go to this? Can I just skip it this time? But, sometimes there's going to be days where you look forward to those kinds of things. And, you don't always get to interact with as many people as you want whenever you're working from home. And, like before, it was a lot of it because I was around people I didn't want to be around. Now, however, like if I had the option to be around people that I did want to be around, now I think that would be a different story. But, like obviously the alternative of being around no one is also better than being around people you don't like. So you kind of have to pick your poison, right? But it is always, a balance between all of those things that are fighting for your attention and time. And as I kind of mentioned, my spare time, I play Ultimate Frisbee. I do like to travel, and I do like to work out. I do stream my workouts pretty often. I'm having to cut back a little bit on that just so that I can make sure that I'm meeting my goals that I want to be meeting. And, like having goals is going to be really important so that you can see that progress. And, even writing them down, like, okay, this is going to be what I want to do. And these are the steps I'm going to do to get there. And then, just check off those little micro goals. And then, once you get to the big goal, like have some type of reward. And it doesn't always have to be food. You could like maybe go to the movies, or maybe spend time with someone, or take a day off, whatever. But food is also an option if you want to treat yourself to a dinner. It just kind of depends on, again, what your goals are. So those are important to make, because obviously that's going to be what you're working towards. Otherwise, you might just be like working willy-nilly and not knowing what you're trying to accomplish. I listen to The Money Guy Show. Sometimes I listen to The Art of Charm. That's also a podcast. Obviously, as I said, I listen to Twitch. That's the health and fitness category most of the time. I don't really do the YouTube thing, as odd as this is, but I'm trying to get a little bit more like broadening my horizons, as much as that sucks, but I'm trying it. So those are kind of the things that I listen to. Also audiobooks, because obviously that would make sense, and it's considered like research for work. I do hear a lot of audiobooks and I'm like, But there's also really good ones, it just kind of depends on what the author was, willing to pay for. But it's definitely been a wild ride, and I'm looking forward to the next month. So I think that I'll be back with you guys then.